Good afternoon, I'm Lydia Abdo with today's news from ICov Tv. It has been reported that Britain has had the wettest winter according to statistics which were recorded more than a century ago, in 1910. Flood experts have written an open letter in the Telegraph calling on David Cameron to rethink his flood plans to avoid a repetition. The HS2 railway line has been challenged by the Coventry City Council. Councillor Hazel Noonan discussed the many issues that would need to be dealt with before the HS2 can begin to take shapes. Here's Alex Monalakas with the details.
Coventry City Council has recently restarted their opposition towards the HS2 railway line. The HS2 is set to create a link between Newton, London and Birmingham. The council formally objected to the HS2 in a hearing that took place on the 11th of February. When speaking about the HS2 and how involved Coventry needed to be within the debate, Councillor Hazel Noonan had this to say.
I can understand while the government is pushing it, it's going to bring jobs and prosperity to the north of the country, and it's going to be a good project. Of course, what's at the heart of it all is what route is it going to take and how much is it going to cost.
Challenging of the HS2 is expected to cost the local taxpayer a total of £150,000 due to legal and consultancy fees. Councillor Noonan went on to discuss underlying concerns of challenging the HS2 and what those opposing it must account for.
We do need also to take part in discussions to see if there is a better route which avoids their properties, and to make sure that, you know, where there's bridges, where there's viaducts, where there's screening, noise prevention, that all these measures are put in place.
Due to their formal objections, the council will have the opportunity to present their case to the House of Commons. The council has said they intend to secure the best outcome for Coventry and its residents.
The Lanchester Gallery, situated next to Coventry University Hub, has recently opened a new exhibition. The gallery project aims to study the institution of art within Coventry's social, political and industrial history. Here's Katie Gothorpe with the curator Sadie Hawkins.
The Lanchester Gallery project has always been known for its unique style. As of the 24th of January, it has been the location of the controversial programme Critical Decor, What Works. When speaking about the event, the curator had this to say.
In Critical Decor What Works, so Geoffrey Charles Henry Peacock have never ever had an exhibition before, because they say ultimately to create an exhibition is a false proposition. So they're saying artworks presented in a gallery in a complete state become merchandise and just objects that serve the market. And it's not about sort of very analytical, intellectual rigour and about the process and about the studio.
The exhibition is bound to be a fine companion for an art gallery that already excels in individuality alongside its forms of distribution. Sadie Hawkins, the creator, noticed the differences between the Lanchester and other galleries within Coventry.
I mean, they're a very different operation. The Herbert is a museum with a collection and has to satisfy all sorts of objectives. But LGP is very much a curatorial programme with a research agenda running through it. Coventry, LGP, I think has been incredibly important because there's not been a curated contemporary art programme in the city.
What this event teaches us is that the conventions of something such as an exhibition can quite easily be rethought and undone. The Lanchester Gallery, being located somewhere as student-centric as the Hub, is bound to give art and design students a new perspective.
An old cinema has been replaced into student accommodation in Coventry. Individuals are not happy with this decision. Here's Martin Dumbrova with James Birkin.
One of the oldest cinemas in Coventry has been put under the category of being destroyed and built into student accommodation, but one person is determined enough to save it. I asked James Birkin what inspired him to create the campaign to save the building.
I was inspired by my artwork primarily because I studied fine art at Coventry University, and I made a big painting series of the interior from photographs, and then I gradually just got more interested in the whole history behind the building, and we sort of halted the demolition at the moment with the English Heritage listing, well, application for the listing and stuff like that. So we've got to raise the money. The main thing is raising the money. That's the hard part, really. You've got to raise a lot of money to buy it, but it's doable. We're just going to attempt it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's worth a try.
A week has passed and the building is set to be destroyed. It's sad to think that one of Coventry's oldest buildings is going to be turned into student accommodation.
Coventry is one of the most inactive areas in the West Midlands, alongside Sandwell and Dudley. Carl Nappett has more.
In a recent study by UK Active, it has been found that Coventry is one of the most inactive cities in the country. It ranks 9th for inactivity in the country and third overall in the West Midlands. The study also found a link between early deaths and a high rate of inactivity in an area. A statement from the report says this:
"It is no longer acceptable that physical inactivity remains the forgotten cause of death in the UK. More deprived areas are faring worse in a physical inactivity pandemic, with no national strategy to improve our fitness levels, from before we take our first steps to our last."
Despite what the findings suggest, many gyms in Coventry are disagreeing. They say that they have high numbers of members that attend regularly to improve both their fitness and their overall health. This is what one gym employee had to say.
One of the most inactive. Based on working here, I tend to disagree. I mean, just to give you an example, we have over 4,500 members at our facility at the moment. Not all of them being students, because we are open to everybody, so we have a lot of staff members and public as well.
Okay.
Like I say, 4,500, pretty good figure. I've noticed within the local area as well, we don't just cater for members, but we get external events and things as well. We're always really busy, really full. So based on experience, I would tend to disagree with that.
Okay. It seems like Coventry isn't as inactive as people think. This is Carl Naffett, back to the studio.
And thank you, Cole. And in other news, the selfie has become 2013's Word of the Year and has even been added to the Oxford Dictionary. A selfie is a picture someone takes of themselves, usually with a smartphone or camera, and then uploads to a social media website. This has even led to the creation of the Selfie Awards in Coventry. The awards are being run by Coventry Telegraph and are supported by a Coventry Business Improvement District. People have the opportunity to crown their selfie the best selfie and can win £100 in Love to Shop vouchers in the use of the city centre. That's ICov News. Stay classy, Coventry.